Alright, so this is going to be something a little different. I made a playground. And I am going to, I finally finished it last night, did a test run. I think I got pretty much all the bugs out, so now I'm going to go through and do a playthrough of it. So this was something that, wow. Okay. I only published this at like midnight last night. Okay, it's not too bad. But this was something that Jackson and I were gonna do together. I was gonna come up with the story, and he was gonna use his ADD fueled building design to kind of make the world, but we never really got together too much for it, so it ended up kind of becoming my project, but it is still based off of Weevils. So it was one of the few things we decided on together. Wouldn't be. You can't start it from there.
My name's Peter. My friends call me Pete.
Curse. There we go. Yes, I did. I tried to scale through, the fighting and stuff, so that people who aren't quite as good at perfect blocking could still do it. Giving healing items and proper equipment and whatnot. But at least towards the end, it is kind of dependent. I did give you do get the compliance badge a bit later, just because you're gonna need it. So that's one thing I was always wondering about, is how other people who weren't quite as good at perfect blocking as me would do. But I guess 18 downloads, it seems to be going well. And I did kind of try to make it two-player friendly, but of course that works a little iffy with this, because I just kind of put like 2 of each armor set that I give you, and I just trust that you're not going to take like both weapons or both sets of arrow stacks or healing items. I just trust that people are going to keep it fair. And I do have our little friend. Text box takes a little bit to show up. There we go. Named him Weave because, again, this is something that Jackson and I were going to do together. So our friend is Weave. It's coming along. And this is the only house that I decided to fill in, because it's Weave's house. You have all these others in Weevilton, but they're all empty. I think I did have. No, it's just the animal. I thought I had actual Weevils walking around here, but they never seem to show up. That's fine. Here we have our quest to go to the armory. Basic story. Yeah, I don't know why it takes a little bit. Basic story is Weave's sister is missing, and we are going to go and find her. Oh, there's one.
Mark that one off the list.
Okay, so they are around. Good.
Consulting Detective Weevil, hot on the trail.
Here we have the armory.
Nose for the truth.
And no, you cannot just take these weapons and cheat. I made sure of that. There's no cheating allowed. I did want to leave like this back area open, because there's, I don't know if you can see it, but I made it like he's got his forge in the back. There's an oven and upgrade station with the anvil and all that, because this is an armory and kind of like a blacksmith area. But I realized that if I let you go far enough to get through the door, you could just sneak through the invisible wall and steal these things. But no, there's no way to get these. I'm sorry, you can't cheat. And I just trust that you're going to take one of each
Feeling a
of
little
these.
safer now.
This was a thing, because the reason I wanted to do this was after I found that playground that Jackson and I played through. And I was just amazed at how much detail and work was put into altering the layout of the map to be completely unrecognizable. So I kind of wanted to do something like that too. And I'm really proud with how it turned out. Just really proud. You can't really tell quite where you are on even this blank map. This still got its landmarks and all that, but that's one thing I've loved about the playgrounds is the people who do it really well. You can barely recognize the landscape, even of the empty map or of the regular backyard when people use it. Now we are going to head over to the Mite Nation first, and I kind of went around. I decided to go the route of kind of using the dirt terrain here to block off your path to kind of corral the player. Because I wasn't about to find a way to use every part of this map, even though I pretty much take you all around it. So it's very kind of walled off and directed. There are also side quests. So this is... I remember I made a joke about Weevil Knievel during my playthrough with Jackson, so I decided that he will be our guide to going through what the side quests are going to be like. This doesn't work perfectly because you can't quite jump it, but it's a good example. And now we can unlock this and get an axe. I mean, you can go down this way. It just leads out. There's a area back there that spits you out into this canyon that we'll get to later. So here, we have our checkpoints, just in case you die, because I understand some people might not be as unbeatable as I am.
Whoa, why don't you just stay over there?
I trust that you're not going to attack me.
Insect.
So now we have our next side quest to retake Supply Shed from a bunch of mites. Because they're supposed to be the rivals to the Weevils. I didn't... One of them get a... How did... I left the door open. Well, I guess there is a problem because I didn't kill all the ones that spawned here, so... We'll have to go see which one of these guys is supposed to be dead. So I just have to kill all the ones around here. I kind of figured they all would have just, hung around you, because you spawn right there, but, no. see if that worked. It did. Okay, one of those was the right guy. So now we get our reward is taking this stuff from the supply shed. I realized, because I did have a canteen in here before, because I have the water and the hunger drain on, but I realized after playing through a couple times to test it, you don't really drain that much of either. I'm still keeping the food items on, just because you are doing a lot of fighting and going through your stamina, but you really don't need the water at all. And if you do, I have water coolers around. Chief is over here. Of course, he's completely denying any involvement of kidnapping Weave's sister. Weave doesn't believe it. I was trying not to aggravate you, but okay. So now he tells you we gotta keep looking. And this is a pretty relatively small area, but you're going to find over here. Because the idea is that you'll think that, oh, maybe there's something's hidden behind here. But no, there's nothing here. So now we have to go and search the anthill. That's another thing, is that the ants are predators to the weevils. No, you don't get a torch to go in here, and we'll see why.
New one for the bestiary.
In a second. I'm still a little conflicted on whether I put too many ants in here, because sometimes if you do get noticed by the soldier ant, it's a hassle, because then of course everything rushes to try to kill you. But I didn't have a lot of soldier ants here. But down here, the second tunnel, you're going to find a little glowing something. That's why I didn't want you to have the torch, so you'll notice it. And before you leave, Weave is hiding down here for you to talk to him. And we're out.
That's a soldier ant.
Really? You're going this thing good. I want to fight you guys. Never mind. I can just leave too. Well, never mind. Yeah, he's just stabbing. That wasn't too bad. Now, Weave has a friend for us to go talk to who might know what this strange thing we found is. Yeah, so down this way is just the path back to Weevilton. You can see the thing up there. I didn't put too much effort into the world building making a lot of sense. It's like this guy was just randomly living out here in the middle of this thing, but it's good enough. Now we have our Ladybug friend, who fancies himself an expert in these kind of strange things. So before you go over, because he will meet you over in that room, but there's a checkpoint here, and a storage unit with a lot of good stuff in it. So you can replace your spear with a better one. And I'm not going to take these because it'll just fill your inventory later. Alright.
feel a little less squishy
Because
now.
I do, there's a point where I pretty much fill your entire inventory with healing items, because they only stack in groups of 5, which I didn't think of, so it fills your entire inventory, but that's fine. I'll make sure you have what you'll need if you're not quite as good as me. Now here, yes, you can play along and analyze it with him. And it is a piece of, it's not fungus in this, it is a weird piece of genetic stuff. And so that's what you're going to be investigating now. So take this. Don't cheat, because I realized you can hit it more than once to get a bunch of bombs. So don't cheat. Just take the one. It's the only one you'll need. But now we have to go and venture into the mysterious lab down here. And now you can use the torch, because eventually there will be something to find down here that you'll need to see for, because it won't glow this time. How did you get out?
Got one.
What? How did... I put an invisible wall up so you couldn't get out. What? But... Okay. Just for that, you have to be punished for escaping. Any others get out? I put an invisible wall up. There's no, because I only had, you'll see in a second, but at first I only had these things up to block the player from entering, but then I realized that the bugs in there could get out through the gaps, so I put an invisible wall up. So how did you get out? Oh well. Well, as you can see, oh yeah, you have no way of getting in. So you have to go around and find the better axe, find the tier 2 axe somewhere in these other tunnels. And I realize that this does kind of rely on player knowing which direction the lab is in, because if you're just going through each tunnel, you're gonna find it before you need to. But I couldn't really think of a way around that, because then if I put an invisible wall on one of the tunnels, then you're going to know where it is, so then that kind of gets rid of the searching aspect of it. But it's right here. We can actually see in here, too. I'm proud of I'm proud of it all, now that I'm done with it. It was long and tedious of having to actually design and fill out the world with stuff, filling the labs and blocking off the canyon walls and all that to direct the player. But I'm really proud of it now that it's completely done. So actually, I can put this here. That right one is the one that triggers the thing, so make sure you at least break that. And you can see this door is locked. Don't aggro on me, you can't even reach me. So we have to go this way first. on it. Bro, notice me. And I think, yeah, the scaling. I don't know what's invisible thing is here. It might be my wall. I don't know. I'll have to check. I will do it kind of like a behind the scenes run through, but it's either an invisible wall that I put here, or a just because of the scaling of making this thing bigger. I didn't notice that before. I think I'll keep that. And here is your first boss.
Interesting. The fungus is making the insects hostile.
But I already love what I did with this boss area. Made all the boss areas really cool. Okay, good. Last time I tested this, you just kind of sat there and let me kill you, so I'm glad you're actually reacting now. Are you? Okay, nothing that I can help with. One of these is better. Oh, and yes, I did put an invisible wall behind each boss fight as soon as you enter the room, so you cannot cheese it and wait in the safety of the doorway. Oh gosh. How much does this do? Quite a bit. My spear back. Is that it? No. And you always have Weave to talk to at the doorway of the boss areas after you're done. But now that we killed the Ladybug, this door will be open. I didn't really think about mutations when I made this, like made the settings and stuff, but nothing too overpowered except for the Mant one. What are you doing, dude? Because you do fight the Mant later on in this. It is definitely part of a genetic kind of theme, genetic splicing theme. Alright, you gonna let me come through so I can kill you? How are you weak to? Slashing. I don't have either of that. I've memorized the like flavored weaknesses, but not really the like busting, slashing, stabbing kind of thing. It's not really important in the main game, but I suppose in the playgrounds it can be. Okay. I actually didn't test this before. Do I have an invisible wall here? Because this is the way out. That door is locked anyway. Is there something you have to... Yeah, the door is locked anyway. There's something you gotta find here first. this way. I'll kill you so you don't bother me. So what you're going to find is over on this side, another theme I have for the labs is you got to find the crumpled notes in a trash bin. And that will give you information about what's going on. And then, of course, I had some growths being grown in some test tubes and stuff. I figured out a better way to kind of show that later on, but I kept this lab like this. I didn't really put any lab equipment in here to really show that everything went really wrong here. If you're wondering about this area, there is a purpose to this. You don't have to go in here. I don't know how you guys are getting out, because I put a wall up there. Maybe you're just glitching through when you spawn or something, I don't know. Don't you dare do that. So they were supposed to stay behind here. I'll have to check it. But basically this is just supposed to be a death trap for you. If you go in here, there's supposed to be tons of mites, tons of larvae. You're not supposed to come back here, and if you do, I don't expect you to survive. It's supposed to be kind of like a dangerous curiosity kind of thing. You come in here because you wonder what's in here, and then you immediately regret it. But now that we've found those crumpled notes in the trash can, this door will be open and we can leave. So now the gist here, of course, is the genetic splicing that I mentioned earlier, and how everything went wrong. Ladybug here mentions that the mites, the larvae, the ladybug are all populations that have been going missing for a while, and our next step is to go to the Larva Nation. This is something I specifically included because Jackson hates them. So, I was always hoping that when we would go through and he would play this, just that he would hate it, and that they're friendly. It's not an enemy nation. Even though he says that we have to be careful, but even though, yeah, but they're friendly, so I would force Jackson to be civil with them. And I tried to kind of design the homes differently. I realized I didn't make any kind of houses in the Spider Nation, but that's honestly fine. But at least for Weevilton and for the larva, I wanted to have like different kind of houses, different culture kind of thing. My world building brain going off.
That's no grub. It's a larva.
So we come here, we immediately get attacked because these guys are irritable and quick to anger. So Jackson could have the catharsis of killing some. And apparently this guy, this chief, is just fine that we killed 2 of his people. Then we start telling him about it. We decide to go meet at his house, across the pond. To discuss it further. And there is a checkpoint and granola bars. I can get rid of this. Now the gist of this is basically there is a very cursed landscape out in the east. Dead trees and diseased growths like the ones in the lab, and he tells us to stay away from that area. But of course we are not going to, because we are determined to find Weave's sister, and to get to the bottom of this mystery of whatever was being experimented with here. But first, there is another side quest here. I actually forget what you get out of it, which is funny considering I just played this last night to test it. So we have to find the family heirloom in the middle of the lake. Now I made it kind of easy. I scaled up the trinket so you can see it. It's pretty much a straight shot, too. Of course, the larva trinket. And honestly, what does this even do? Sizzle, yeah, so even if you decide to cheat and keep it, it's not going to help you. There's nothing that will sizzle you in this map. Oh, the bow. That's right. Better bow and more arrows. So now we head east. It is this way. I realized I didn't put a like a quest marker, but that's fine because you have a compass here. You're going east, so you don't really need a marker.
I wonder how the elves keep their treehouse.
Why? How did what? How did you get out?
New one for the bestiary.
What are you doing here? It is so not time for you yet. I really need to look at this stuff. Why are these things getting out? I have invisible barriers. I'm trying to think what turns what I have that what turns the barrier off. If maybe one of the bugs walked through it and triggered it. What is happening? I don't even know if the bugs can trigger. Why? Why are you here? This is so messed up. I really need to fix this. I seriously need to fix this. I have no idea what happened. It worked perfectly last night. I didn't change anything. Okay. So now we have this creepy, cursed landscape to go through that I am, again, very proud of because it looks very strange. This is where you meet the infected weevils and kind of get the sense that something really bad is going on here. Did I put perhaps a few too many? Possibly. Because you can't kill them. You don't have enough time to kill them before they explode. Or come down here. There's a new shield. A new sword. And your real tactic is you gotta go this way. But you have to talk to Weave first. Are we fine? Nope. Yeah, your tactic is kind of just to let them die until they stop coming, because there's so many of them, I might have to take a few of the spawns out. Are we good? Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, this also is effective because it's supposed to be chaotic, and you're rushing through here until he spots the structure over here that we can shelter in. I have no idea how those termites got out. I will say the thing that is probably the most complicated with the kind of like the sensor gizmo, the receiver and the emitter, is that there's 100 channels that you can set it on, so it can be kind of confusing to forget which ones are linked to what. So maybe that's part of it. I have no idea. I'll definitely have to look into that. We still have a little bit before the termites should even be allowed out of that anthill that I put them in. But now we found another lab, one that is more functional than the other one we were just in, so hopefully we can get some answers here. And I have 2 doors that require keys. I made sure to state that the keys are in the lab, so you don't have to go around looking at the entire map for these keys. Oh, hello. See, now that is kind of what I wanted. At least for the infected weevils, is I want them to be able to get out. Because this is probably the biggest open area that I walled off. So I want them to be able to like get out in the environment as you're going through other parts of the story. And now down here we have a bunch of lab equipment. We're growing some more genetic anomalies, some computers and all this stuff, a big surveillance system. Over here we have a checkpoint and a water cooler if you need it. But this door is locked, so we have to venture deeper in. Before we go that way here, I will tell you the key, one of the keys, is right here. And this is one that it would probably do you some good to, I always forget about the new shield. Do you some good to find that before you go any further and get what's in the door, get what's in the room. Not happening. Is that it? Alright. So here, let me actually put this on so I can just swap.
That should
Swap.
keep me safe. Safer.
Actually don't need this anymore, so you can get rid of that. But now we have a new set, new weapons. That's because there's another boss fight coming up. That if you go in without getting that stuff, it's gonna take a lot longer. You're gonna be massively unprepared for it. Just do this to get up to full strength. Now I have a cool effect here to give some implications on what's happening down there, but it doesn't quite work if you run. It doesn't. You need. Yeah. If you run, you get down here before it finishes hyping you up for it. But now, this is where I kind of started figuring out how to imply that they're growing this stuff intentionally. I just get these growth pods from the Muscle Sprout Dome in the Pond Lab, and put a bunch of fungus in them with some supercomputers next to it. And then at first I had the cap gun as like these laser things, but then I realized that there are actual laser things in the game that I could use. The effect doesn't quite work. You're still a little too far away to see it. He's kind of hard in trying to get him off the platform. I might have to lower that, because otherwise he'll just kind of sit here. But I did put Mint on this because he's weak to it, and I wanted to make this easier. That wouldn't take as long. Maybe I can try to lure him off the thing, but yeah, I'll have to change that to get him to lower the thing so he'll actually come off and fight you. Thing is, it's pretty easy because I know it's a late game boss and you're still kind of unprepared with the weapons and gear that you have. It's not bad, except for his one attack where he blows up. That can almost just kill you. Stay close for too long because you can't go that way before he does that attack. It's really risky. I would prefer not to be against the wall if you decide to blow up. So now, of course, we can see Weave is waiting with the crumpled notes, but under here is the red key. Here we get the notes from the trash. And, okay, I should probably move that up too. But now we get the idea that they're trying to create some kind of superior life form. And we learn that there were spider genes in this thing, which is why I had the little hint of the web sacks over here. So Now we gotta get out and regroup. First, you might as well go and unlock the red door. Do I have my shield on me? I do. Here we get our healing potions. So that's why I made sure the green key, the one that gives you the armor and stuff, is the one that you can get before the boss fight. Because if you just had the stinger spear, you're still up here. Can I kill you through here? I can. But if you just had the stinger spear and the axe to fight him with, and the bow, I suppose. But especially with just the stinger spear instead of the minty rust spear, it would have taken a lot longer. And the armor too. You would have just had the Ladybug armor. I always think he's over here for some reason. So now we have to go to the Spider Nation, but he makes a point to mention helping people along the way because there are 3 other side quests that we can do before heading over to the Spider Nation. First one is over here, the termites. So, yeah, so this button... Well, no then, it can't have been accidentally triggered. The button is the thing that turns off the invisible barrier. I have no idea how they got out then. But the Anthill has been overrun by a horde of termites and the king, and we are being recruited to go and kill him. Now I will say, because this might be a bit confusing, there are 2 required quests to get stuff you need to access the final boss area. I want to say that because you would think that this would be all the reward that you need to get the Salt Morning Star. Like, why do I even need to go do the quest? That's because this is one of the required ones, so you need to do this to gain access to the boss area.
I spy.
And the reason I give this now instead of later is just because the termites are... Why are you out? Well, you are... I finally turned off the thing, but still, you're not supposed to get out.
I don't think I can make a big enough
I
tent to
probably
kill one of
should
those.
rework how this barrier is laid out. I should probably make it so that it turns off once you get near it instead of when you do the button. I don't know. But yeah, it's the way it's supposed to be laid out is that in this room you have the workers, of which there are none left because they got out and I killed them all already. And then you progress into the next chamber, where you can now fight the soldiers. I could probably put more, because I only... Okay. Probably put a few more, because I didn't think it would be this easy to kill them with the, with the Morning Star. Maybe 3 is fine, and I'm just, again, like I'm just really good at this. I don't know. Because you have this whole area that you're supposed to fight them in, and then you end up doing it in that tunnel, but that's fine. And of course, down here is where you'll find the king. termite, like, stuck. It felt like I was clipped into his body and I couldn't get out. I tried to back up, but it didn't work. Now I gotta run all the way back and open that chest. Now that I think about it, you might not even need the food items, because these... Okay, no it doesn't, never mind. I was gonna say, I figured these give you hunger back, but I guess not. Here, we get the termite axe. I can get rid of this. Put it in this second one, because you won't really need it as a weapon, you just need it to break some stuff. Now the second quest, he's a little hard to find. It's this Aphid over here. This fanatical Aphid who thinks we're going to, if I pull the sword from the stone, I'll save the world. Of course, this is for the Coltana, and there is no chest there because the Coltana is the reward. But of course, there's a catch. And now, the last quest before we go to the Spider Nation is over here. This bee, you probably saw him. This is the room with the armor. So here we have a little bee. There was a young bee that was kidnapped by a couple wasps. Another reason why I give you this, and why I put this kind of back here, so you'll see the termite one and get this before you fight the wasps. You have to go save the bee from the wasps. I forget. No, I remember what this gives you. It's only 2. Don't worry. I figured 1 was too easy. I might have regret that, because now this is a hassle. It doesn't have the thorns on it. When did you die? Which one of you was low on health? Ah, okay.
Better be starving.
Whew. I don't know, maybe I should rework that? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you have the items for it, but... Here, yeah. The better bow and some arrows. Now we can head over to the Spider Nation. If you accidentally triggered this, it's fine. This is just the, yeah, it doesn't accidentally put up a quest marker again. It's the one that just gets rid of the one to tell you where to go to get to the structure. Over here. But now, we can go through the Cursed Canyon in broad daylight with full confidence. because we can now easily kill these things. So now this is where you kind of get a little bit of a maze. No, I think I fixed, yeah. Before, I didn't turn that thing off, so then it tells you to go back to the structure. But I fixed that. But, hey, why don't you guys just all die? That's more fun to watch. And we have to find your way through a pretty decent maze, I think. Hey! Ah! Forget that I'm running. But over here. My way, buddy. There we go. Alright, you asked for it. Now we are out. And this, I think I definitely scaled this to my experience level. So he's telling us to be careful. There will be no diplomacy here. And this is where it kind of becomes really clear that you need to be good at perfect blocking. You're gonna see why in a second. I would kind of come away from here just because, just to be sure that you don't accidentally respawn all these guys by walking back into the trigger zone. I think I fixed that. What happened to the other guy? He went to space. Now I don't know where it's gonna happen. Okay. Well, that guy made it convenient for us. Well, usually you would be doing both of these guys at once. Get you a little bit away from the trigger area. But I made it abundantly clear that 1, you will not be able to reason with the spiders here to get what you need. 2, perfect blocking is going to be essential in this late part of the game. Yeah, so we have to go and snoop around ourselves. There are 2 side quests here, though. I'm not sure why going through that twice takes away the quest marker. But first is this guy. He is sending us to the gladiator pit. The spider's bane will face the champion. And if we survive, we will get a great reward, but we have no assistance. We only can use the items that we've been given. So let's now head over to the gladiator pit. This was probably the biggest kind of bug in my sort of programming, because once you killed it, I had no way to turn off the trigger zone to spawn it, so you just kind of got stuck in an endless cycle as you tried to leave. So I fixed that right away. But now, here is your need for perfect blocking. This is why you will get no assistance. This is my test to make sure you are worthy of the gift that I'm going to give you if you beat this. Alright. I don't have my cross and my bow on. Yeah, you can't perfect block that. I'll say the bosses are easier to fight in playground mode because they don't have certain parts of their environment that make them as strong as they are in survival. Because she doesn't spawn anything when she screams. And neither does the wasp queen or the infected broodmother. What? Get out of here. I suppose that's a good one to turn on. The Parry Master and the Mom Jeans. Because you only get 2. There's no way to upgrade and get yourself more. But what used to happen is that the trigger zone is right at the bottom of this ramp here. So as soon as you'd try to go back up, you'd respawn it, and it would turn the invisible barrier up here back on, so you could just never get out. I suppose unless you tried to climb up on the side, which I think you could, but that was probably the biggest issue that I had to fix. Until now I gotta figure out why the termites are getting out. But here, you get the compliance badge. That is why you had to prove that you were worthy of it. Make sure that you could kill the broodmother with only the things that you had. Because you need to be good at perfect blocking to do that. You don't have enough healing items to allow for too many hits. So, put that on, put that on. Probably won't need this. I could honestly get rid of that too. So now, this is the only kind of civilized guy. They're being invaded by heavily armored bugs. This is the second mandatory one that you have to do. This will get you the other thing that you need to access the final boss area.
Hark! Yonder lady in the cloven forest. What errand does the day find you?
Holy crap! Yeah, you might have armor on, but there's no upgrades to your health. There's, no milk mold infusion. Another reason you gotta be good at perfect blocking. It's been a while to learn that you can actually block this. Stuck on my own spider, I think I am. And one's. thanks, spider. Yeah. I think, yeah, that actually is the last side quest. Now in here, the Black Ox Hammer. Put that next to there. So now we can finally continue with the story. And I did put a marker here, instead of just kind of like letting you explore on your own, because this is a huge area, and you don't even know what you're looking for, so I figured I'd make it easier to find the lab. Now the inside of this one took a bit, because it's the biggest lab, and this is where I really refined my idea of, instead of just randomly placing stuff, to actually put down equipment that made sense to what the story said they were doing.
Every time.
Which made it a lot easier to figure out how to fill this huge space with stuff, and also made something that I'm really proud of. This is the area that I'm the most proud of, out of all the ones that I had to fill in with stuff, because of just what it infers about the story and what's going on. Dodge and weave. This reminded me of something I saw in another playground where they used these things to kind of look like infusion pipes. So I kind of went off that they are taking with these computers that are used to power the growing pods to grow the genetic stuff, and now they're infusing it into a web sack. So that's the kind of idea that I'm going for with how this stuff is laid out. You don't even need any water. Well, I suppose the granola bar is enough to keep you not hungry. Nope. You guys can't go that way, you know, there's an invisible wall there. You have to fight. Which means you have to die. Get over here. Alright. Of course here, I wanted to kind of build up some suspense about the boss that you're going to be fighting in this one. So we can see they're growing more of this stuff, they're infusing it into the machine, which will then pump it into the little spiderlings. And a little monitoring station over here. Hello. Die. Just die so I can... Hey! And now we see they're infusing the growths into a wolf spider. Wonder what that is going to turn into. And let's go over here first. This door is locked by a blue key. That's real easy to find. It's probably the most obvious one because there's a random trash can in between these computer stations. So we're gonna head over here first. Good. Oh, you're stuck behind. Okay. Not sure how that happened, because I made sure you spawned over here. Now it's not even hitting me. Oh, because I'm hitting the stuffed animals. There we go. Can I get my arrows back? Get my arrows back. So now here we are implying this testing going on with mints, because we can come over here, get some notes, and learn that these things have a weakness, which is mint. So that is what this is. We have the whiteboards up there trying to figure out a solution on how to fix their creation so that it won't be weak to mints, and they're doing some testing on it. But of course this is where you will get your last set.
I feel a little less squishy now.
Get the mint mace. You can get rid of this now. And your shield. And then in here, we get all the heals that you're ever gonna need. So now we can come talk to Weave over here, next to this whiteboard and trash can, because I realized I didn't really have anything talking about the infusion stuff that I was adding. So this was one of the last things I added, talking about infusion trials and self-infusion and transformation to really, because now we're kind of getting close to who's behind all this. You're the only one, okay. So down here, we have the boss area. This is the room that I am the most proud of. Just because of everything that it implies, and just because of how cool it looks. I love how this room turned out. And because of that. That's a cool, like, almost interactive feature, I guess. It doesn't just spawn. Okay. It doesn't just spawn, you see it sitting there, and then it comes to life. And now, I can break this down a little bit. The biggest thing to note, get rid of you, is that there was clearly something else hooked up here. Of course, we don't know what it was, but it was receiving infusions from these different spiders. You can see hooked up to this big machine here, and then of course the fungal growths hooked up into here that was being infused into the wolf spider, which was then transferred over to whatever abomination was hooked up to this thing. So that's probably the most creative I got with this whole thing, was figuring out this room where the mastermind was experimenting on themselves and did the self-infusion that was mentioned before. And now we see Weave has not made it out unscathed. Now we must leave the lab and get ready for the final showdown. Thank you. Now this is a bit strange, because this is like a long tunnel. There's a lot of big caverns on your way out of the hill. I don't do anything with this. I'm not sure if I will. In like an update, I'll put stuff here for you to fight or something. This is really just your way out of the hill, out of the lab. I didn't really realize how long of a journey it was to just do nothing. So maybe I'll put something here for you to fight, some more minions or something. I don't know. And I don't think I put any invisible barriers by this, so just don't fall, because I blocked off every other path in this anthill, so it'll be a straight line, an easy straight line out. But now we come to the end. The final showdown. Weave has been injured. His time is now limited. Almost kind of like a zombie bite. He didn't make it out of the wolf spider unscathed. So now we must end it. Now you can see our poor little buddy isn't making it out of here. His time is very limited. And we have crossed the map. We've made it from one corner to the other. Because Weevilton is down here. You come to the Mite, the Anthill. There's the Ladybug guy. Then you come up to the Larva. Over here to the canyon, the Mant fight. And the Spider Nation down here. There's the Anthill we came out of. So I utilized most of the map. Which I'm really proud of too. And now this is where those two required quests come in, because you gotta break the pine cone, and you gotta cut the roots to make it inside. One thing I did accidentally with the roots, with how I placed them, I assumed that they would all break, like every root in the bunch would break, but apparently not. These ones don't break. And I didn't pay attention to that when I placed them. So I accidentally made like a little maze for you to try to get through. Because there's some of this stuff that's going to be in your way. Which I actually kind of like. So I kept it that way. So it's not just an easy chop chop walk straight through. There's still stuff in your way. Now here we are, the belly of the beast.
Infected larva spotted.
Didn't know it hit him. Yeah, you can go up around this whole thing is open for you to explore. I just have invisible barriers up there so you don't fall off. Hey. My arrow back? I think I did. Nice. stamina back so I can kill you. Now we come over here, we learn the disturbing truth. We save. It was Weave's sister all along. Motivated by the death of their parents to a bunch of ants. She was determined to make sure that weevils could never be subject as prey and turn them into a perfect species. And completely lost the plot and infused herself with all that stuff to become the final boss. The only thing that ever could have been the final boss.
Taking a got one.
How? How are you up here? You're not supposed to be here. This is where you're healing and your spine stats come in. And this is why perfect blocking is essential, like I said at the start. But this was, like, always my plan, is that Weave's sister turned herself into the infected brother, and then the rest of it was just figuring out how. But don't worry, this is much easier in a playground, because, like, half of her abilities are gone, because she's not in her environment. She doesn't heal herself at all. There's none of that poisonous water, there's no explosives. Whenever she screams, nothing happens. It's real easy. At least for me. I'm sure it'll be a decent final boss fight for everyone else, too. But yeah, no explosives, no explosive gnats. It is much easier. She's still fast, I suppose that still heals her. But that's the only thing. She's still fast and still can keep up with. But it's much easier than in survival. Hence why I'm talking during this. I don't need as much focus for it. The really disappointing thing is that the music doesn't change with each phase, it stays like this. So that, at least for me, it feels a little underwhelming at the final phase when she's hammering on you and the music is still relatively calm. Okay. I just still love how this boss area turned out. Just line it with gigantic growth. I tried to have giant braziers too, but apparently when you scale the light source, it doesn't scale the actual light that's thrown from it, so you can't even see the difference in the lighting. So I wanted that cool, ominous blue lighting for the infected braziers, but no, guess not. But this is cool too. Ah! Now it's hard to see still. Okay, never mind. Even that doesn't heal her. I should probably give you more mint arrows, because that's not quite enough for her in this last phase. Ah. No, she doesn't. Oh! Like I said in my walkthrough, you got a keen eye. That was a really hard one to spot. That was, like, kind of surprised I caught that. Survival instinct, I guess. She's stuck. I hope she's not stuck back there. I kind of put them as far to the back as I could, so yeah, so she wouldn't get stuck in there. This one too, you can ah! You still get jump scared by that too. With this bigger arena, you can actually get out of the mist, so you can see her before it clears. Still lost my health like a hawk though. Much easier in playgrounds. Still fun though. Where? There it is. Speak with Weave. Just walk close enough, he'll show up. I just didn't want him to be in the background during the fight if you got over here. There is a big invisible wall too, so you don't accidentally come over here during the fight. Now, tragically, he must die. And that's it. Hour and a half. Well, playtime. Okay, that's not bad. I didn't want to make it too long. I didn't want to make it too short. That's pretty good. But there is still one last thing, and this behind the scenes. You get a little glimpse. A bird's eye view up here of everything. The whole kind of layout that I made to keep player in line. We got Weevilton over there, and the little canyon path down over into the Mite area, and the Anthill. You come over here. The Ladybug guy, you can see inside his house. I did put a kitchen in one of the rooms that you can randomly go into. It doesn't have any purpose to it. The entrance to the lab, then you come over, and you have the big Larva Kingdom, Larva Nation. And then the entrance down here to the Cursed Canyon, this little maze area that I'm really proud of. and over into the biggest area that I kept, which was around the Mant Lab, the Termite Mound, where the Coltana is, and then the Wasps, and then it is connected to the final boss area. And Spider Nation way over here. I can still see the bugs. I can still see the... Wow! My guy's got 20/20 vision. I can still see the body of the broodmother. And the lab, and over to the final area. But now that we have finished the game, I'm going to go out and show a little more in-depth behind the scenes that you won't be able to see just playing through it. Because I'm going to show you the design mode of this. Because I just think, at the waypoints across the entire map, just because I think that it is really cool to see the behind-the-scenes stuff of how these people basically programmed it to make it all work. The first thing here is the spawn area that you're in. I didn't realize this when I laid out these borders, but because I built this first. I didn't lay out any of the borders of the tunnels or valleys or anything. I didn't even build all of Weevilton at first. I just did the bare minimum to get the story done. So it was completely open, and then I filled everything in later. So I just had this sitting in the back corner, and when I put these walls in, I didn't realize that I accidentally made it inside this thing, but that actually works even better for concealment. But yes, the little opening spawn area, and takes you into Weave's house. Of course, I have the farm back here, because if this was a self-sustaining Weevil city, they would need to make their own food. That's not Weave's house. Weave's house is next to the armory. I should have put... There's nothing in the fresh storage. I just put that because he needs a refrigerator for his house. I should have put a, Weevil meat in there. This is like a sick joke. But I'm not going to go in depth for everything. But it's a lot more complicated than you would think. Like, a quick rundown of the pattern I had was triggering the thing. You open the door and the receiver there's the receiver here, or the emitter, and then the receiver here to turn on the quest arrow. So you open the door and it tells you where to go and makes the sound. And then the back part of the pattern here is you come into this volume thing, and I have this one triggered to turn off the quest marker to play another sound saying that you've arrived. And then the reason I have this door linked is so that it will deactivate this, so it doesn't trigger it again when you walk by here on your way out. These are, of course, linked to taking the armor, taking either one of these. And now we can see back here my little blacksmith area that I made for him that nobody could ever see. So I played around a lot with this area to make sure that no one could try to sneak through it. I just decided to play it safe and make it cover this whole area, because at first I didn't even have it up to the ceiling, and then I realized you could jump onto it by using the Weevil, and then you could crouch down and take the weapon, so I just decided to play it safe and do that whole thing. Yeah, so I have a Weevil, like an actual Weevil, stationed at the front of each house. Of course, the front gate. So basically, this was the pattern that I went with for pretty much every quest area. Was like a trigger volume, a way to a receiver coming from a previous area to trigger the quest marker, and then a receiver, or the volume to deactivate it, and then something to turn off the actual thing so you don't go through it a second time and trigger it. And then, of course, behind the scenes for the quest thing, once you hit this, of course there's nothing to stop you from running around, but it's just a quick example. But of course you hit this and it will unlock the storage basket, so you can open it. coming over to the Mite Nation. Here is this. Now, I believe, because this was, what is this arrow was to, I believe, turn it off once, yes, so once all the creatures from this one are killed, it deactivates this one, because I had a problem of, during this fight, I would back into this, and it would spawn these ones all over again. So that was a problem that I learned from the Creature Castle map that Jackson and I played, because the guy who made that didn't do that. And there was one part in particular where there was like 2 roly-polies you have to fight, and I would kill one, and trying to fight the other one, I would back into the spawn area, and it would respawn the other roly-poly, and it was just really annoying, so I made sure I didn't make that same mistake with this one. But yeah, basically you kill this one, then it starts spawning that one, and then once you kill these guys, it turns that one off and opens the door. You got this little area, of course, where the Mite Chief is, and then the area over here that I suppose you just have to be careful not to back into while you're fighting the mites, which tells you any of these are just the teleport things for the design mode. It instructs you to come over here, and I did put, as you can see, I have a, well, I suppose the red ants didn't escape, but I have a blocking volume that will get deactivated once this is received from talking to Weave over there. So you actually see all these guys set up, and I didn't really put anything else in all the other areas. I suppose just trust that you'll find the right way, because I suppose you could go down that way and it loops around to where Weave is sitting here. And of course you have this thing. Yeah, there's nothing else. I think one of these I blocked off. I blocked off a couple areas just to direct people better. I don't know why I'm following the tunnel. I can go through the ground. And then come through here. Meet Weave's Ladybug friend. And yeah, there is a second floor, but there's nothing in it because I just wanted his house to look big. There's nothing of note in here, and then of course the kitchenette is useless. And yeah, back here where it gives you the bomb, I made sure to block this area off because I realized someone could turn around. Jackson actually did do this when I ran him through a test run of it once. He did come straight over here, and that's kind of when I realized I should put up a barrier so people don't accidentally come this way and skip the whole lab. But where does it start? Here we go. So how did you guys get out of here? I have no idea. I have a wall here that deactivates when this thing breaks. I have no idea how that mite got out of here. Never mind. Are you telling me he squeezed through that little... Oh my god. You know what? Fine. Okay, which way is going which way? Okay. There. Make it bigger. There. Try to get out now. But now I did have, because yeah, I didn't want to let the bugs in each area escape. So that's another kind of pattern I did with the labs, is that each little area I had this mix of a trigger volume and a invisible wall that you would undo once you were ready to go into this area. I love just coming under the map and seeing the rest of the stuff that I enlarged and hid. And this was an interesting thing to try to figure out, because the invisible walls always start active. You can't have them start deactivated. So I had to have an area here to turn it off, and then an area here to turn it back on. And again, this little duo I had to do a couple times, because this will spawn the Ladybug, but once you're done with the fight, you don't want to walk through here and spawn it again, so right in front of it I have another one that will deactivate the one before it, so you don't respawn the Ladybug. And then you probably figured out through here, this one down here is the one you see poking through in here because of the hole in the floor. I figured that was a neat way to hide it, because I didn't want like to let there be multiple entrances in here. So I blocked that off. This probably took the longest thing to get myself motivated to fill out, just because I had no idea. Like, I just had to randomly place these things, and it was so tedious and boring. And in here is the layout for this kind of pattern of stuff. And then this is the way it's supposed to be in here. Let me see what went wrong here. These guys are supposed to be here, I believe, one or two of them. But then, like, I don't even know how, unless they just kind of glitched through it. Like, there's no way. I need to stop saying that, because there very clearly is a way. Not anymore. But yeah, this is what you're supposed to walk into. Just a complete death trap. And then, of course, the exit I filled, because this was really weird. You'll notice that there are some instances where I have an ash half wall to cover up this area, and sometimes I don't. It's because it was really, really finicky on whether it let me put the wall there. So I had to substitute it with whiteboards sometimes. Oh yeah, I suppose I had to link that up too. But one thing I'll say I learned from making this is that it's really no different than how the actual survival game is probably linked. Like, these are probably tools that were used in, like, the actual coding and kind of making of the actual survival game of Grounded. It's kind of cool. You get to play with that stuff and make your own kind of thing. This one I had a couple problems with, just because sometimes one larva won't get mad with you and it'll run off, and then you have to go and try to find it. But with each of these, again, like when Weevilton, I didn't really fill them out except for the chief's house, and even then that was just to give you a checkpoint and give you some stuff. These were hard to stack too. When I needed to stack the text boxes, because sometimes, okay, I can show you. If I come down here, it goes in one big line here, but then of course when you go into play mode, it's in a paragraph. So there's a lot of trial and error with stacking them to make sure that they didn't, the words didn't mix. And then, yeah, pretty simple one with this too. And then, this was kind of hard to place, just because it's so high up, and I don't know why, but putting stuff down as a gnat, it puts it a lot farther away from you. I mean, you can do this, but it's still kind of far away and hard to figure out, so I had to do a lot of, like, lining it up with, like, clipping through the other one to make sure I knew where it was, and then moving it. Like, it was a hassle. But it worked out. I got a pattern down. And over here, I have a gizmo to switch it to night. There's a lot going on here. Oh, because I had to do the sound, switch it to night. I had to turn off the quest thing, and then I had to, I think, yeah, because this one is linked to all of the Weevil spawns, which I should probably get rid of a couple. Yeah, like these. So, once you pass through it, it spawns 5 each. I could just, like, because that's a lot. Put it down to 3 or something. Because I have one here, yeah, oh gosh, I have a lot. Oh, I kind of went overboard on the Weevil spawns. Yes, and then come over here. To be fair, I wasn't sure how many I would need to make an effective kind of chaotic run through the canyon. And then, yes, there's this one. And here, I have, yeah, they have no way of getting out of this one, or of this one, so we're fine. I guess you're both levitating, that's fine. And then, you might have picked up on it, but it's here. I have another one to turn it back to day, just for convenience. And here is the layout of, well, never mind. The layout of this. So, the way I figured that out was I have timers linked to the sound effects. So this one, I believe, is on a 2-second delay for the glass breaking sound effect. See, this one plays first, so glass crack. 2 seconds later you get glass break, and then this one is a 4-second delay for the mantis roar. So, because you go through this thing, and it triggers them all at the same time, of course. You know, like it triggers everything that it's linked to at the same time, so I had to figure out the right amount of time to delay it to let each part play in order. So that's something I was really proud of figuring out. And then, of course, down here you have the thing making sure you can't escape, and then this one too, so you don't accidentally respawn the mant and have to fight it again. Let's fix this. Okay, this is why I don't like building with the gnats sometimes. Let me get the key out of here, because it's going to get buried. Well, you know what? Move it. Hello? Key? Thank you. Move the key. Move this back. Kind of put it down a bit more so he can actually walk off the platform. And this I'll just hide next to it. Like right there. So now let's see how that works. There we go, that's much better. Of course you can see my kind of failed thing for the effects. I have the electricity and the super duper effect, but I didn't really want to trigger it too much closer. I might move it up, maybe not, but it's still kind of cool. And we have this mess of stuff because, first of all, this has to turn this off. That has to activate the effects and the Mant. And then when the Mant dies, I have to bring it all the way back here to turn that off. So, yes, the programming and stuff for doing things like this is complicated when you look at it like this, but as with many things, it's a lot simpler if you just go one step at a time and try not to think of everything at once. What was that? Oh, yeah. I just saw these sticking out. These are the legs from the whiteboard. So... Oh, yeah, so this was another thing, because in the regular map, this is exposed. So I decided to... because I wanted to change the landscape. Like how that one guy did with the one Jackson and I played. So I kind of did something like this to make it look like you come out in this kind of underground tunnel area that's really low to the ground here. But now, let's go fix our termite problem. It's over there. Now I'm lost. What the heck? I'm way off. Sorry. Yeah, soldier ants down there. So what went wrong with this? How in the world did they get out? I am really curious. Because I have this here. So what is the one that's deactivating this? That's 20. So 21 deactivates, so that's when you kill the Termite King. That's what triggers that. So 20. Is there something else that's linked to 20 that I don't know about, maybe? I have no idea how the termites got out. There's nothing before this area that's linked with channel 20 that could have deactivated that barrier. I have no clue how the termites got out. There's nothing, there's no receiver, no transmitter linked with channel 20 that would have deactivated this thing. I have no clue how they got out. But yeah, so this is how it's supposed to go. Because this area is supposed to be blocked off. Wait, yeah, this area is supposed to be blocked off too. They should not have gotten out. There's two... I have no idea what happened. There's two barriers preventing them from getting out. Hold on, I'm tangled. Yeah, and we saw all three of these guys. I have no idea how they could have gotten out. The soldiers were fine. They were still here. And then, of course, the area down with the Termite King. And there's 21 to turn off the quest marker. I have no clue. And then I did have over here by the where the Goltana is, I put, I just want to make sure the mosquitoes won't fly away or anything, so I just put a big barrier up here. I think one time one of them got stuck in the rock. That was kind of a rare occurrence, so it shouldn't be a problem. If you can't kill them all, it doesn't matter. I think the only thing that it does is it turns off the quest marker. You don't unlock anything by killing them all because the Goltana is the reward. And the B one was really simple too. Yeah. I'll keep my eye out for anything else linked to 20, but it wouldn't make sense past this point because I have no idea. But now, I'm actually going to warp over there because it's the complete opposite side of the map. So now this monstrosity that I had set up to try to kill everyone that came through here. The first time I tested this, I completely forgot that I put 2 wolf spiders to spawn. I'm going to keep it that way, but I totally forgot that I had that much confidence in even myself to do 2 wolf spiders at the same time. And then, yeah, I don't see any reason why going through here a second time would turn off the... Unless, hold on, is it on toggle? No. That's the only thing I could think of is if it would... Because there's activate and then there's... No, there's not. Well, some of them have a toggle activate. So you go through it once, it'll turn on, go through it a second time, it'll turn off. But that's not what this is on. The only thing on here is the channel. Then I have no idea why it does that. Then we come over here, I made sure that this was your only way to get in. And yeah, I did not have this link here or here to deactivate this once you kill the broodmother. I didn't have these linked here, so yeah. You would kill it, you'd come back up, and you would respawn it, which means this thing would turn on again too, because that's deactivates. Once you go through here, it turns this back on, so you can't leave. Again, this is pretty simple. You just link it to the transmitter, and you link it to the sound effect to play once it dies. So the transmitter will come over and unlock the chest for you. And then this one was real simple too. It's just a progressional thing, and then this guy's linked to unlock the chest. I kind of learned how to do that when I was making a arena. I think the first thing that I wanted to do when we were messing around with playgrounds, it might have been in the video that we did when it first came out, was I wanted to do a gauntlet where you fight every single bug in the game in like order of difficulty. And so I eventually made a gigantic arena out of mushroom bricks in a different playground that I might finish and publish, I'm not sure. But that's kind of how I learned the basics of all this. And I think it's the end of all the stuff that got out before it was supposed to. I still have zero clue how the termites did it. Houdini's. Of course, I blocked off all the other ways in and out just to keep it linear. Yeah, and this is just a little side area to go through if you're going to skip this. here, and I don't know how that guy got stuck behind here, because I made sure they spawned over here for that exact purpose. I don't really know. Maybe through here, between here? I have no idea. Yeah, this is still my favorite room. Just because of how I did this. Because you can show and hide the pretty much any kind of mount. Maybe not the mounts, but definitely the stuffed animals you can do that with. So I have it set so that as soon as you overlap in that area, it will simultaneously hide the stuffed animal and spawn the real thing. So it pretty much looks like it just comes to life. And then of course I have the effect, the explosion, to kind of hide that a little, give the thing time to fully render in after it spawns. But yeah, this went through a lot of different kind of versions in a short amount of time as I was trying to figure out how to make this make sense. Because I didn't want to have just a bunch of random stuff in here. Once I really started thinking about how Weave's sister infused herself with all this stuff and turned herself into the infected broodmother, then I really wanted to show evidence of that in the labs. So this is just my favorite room that I made. I love how this turned out. And I love the kind of like ominous idea that there's another platform here with something missing that was hooked up to all this stuff. I figure it's kind of obvious, especially with the broodmother here and the infected chunks and all the spider stuff, that it is the infected broodmother, but I still love the implication that there was something else here, and now it's gone. If I could make a hole in this thing, I would, because obviously she wouldn't be able to get through these tiny tunnels. But if I had complete control over the environment, I would have absolutely made like a hole here to show that something was here and then it broke out. And then, yeah, this is just way out. It's funny how long this is, because yeah, there's other tunnels here that I had to block off. Wow, okay. I didn't realize it was right here. That makes a lot of sense, actually, because you come out here, and if you just go straight up, it's right there. It is a little funny, though, how it's right there, but the way out, the tunnel that you have to take, is so long. Now, come over here. And I pretty much just lined them up as many as I could, and didn't really think about, because I spun them around and oriented them differently so it would look random and just like a complicated mess of roots instead of like a strangely neat row one after the other. And that, like I said before, that worked out in my favor because it made kind of a cool thing that you still have to jump and duck under after you break them all. Yeah, then I kept this stuff open, just kind of made invisible barriers to kind of block it off and streamline it. And then I have a thing here, you might have noticed, to turn it to night, so you can get that dark glowing effect from the fungus again, because just in normal day, it's kind of boring like this, so I wanted to make it night. Because even though everything's completely covered, it still kind of obeys, like, sunlight rules. Like, you go far enough away, there's still light that comes in, as if it's open and exposed, like that. But this area up here, this kind of upper portion was always my idea for the final boss because it's a gigantic arena and it's got a tunnel leading straight to it. So I figured I could just cover it up and make an arena out of it. It worked really well. And I have all this stuff linked to happen after you kill the final boss. Make sure Weave shows up and then make sure he dies. I was going to originally have two effects. I was going to have the... Because what this is... This is the... Yeah, the Goopy Splat. And then I was also going to have the Healbasa explosion as well. But that ended up being too much because it was like... It was a huge thing of green goo, and then it was also a huge thing of red goo. It seemed like a bit much. So I just had this and I turned it up all the way to max scale. And then I have it tuned so that his dead body shows up once you trigger that as well. This one you're never actually going to see. This is pointless. It's the super duper thing again that will show basically to say that this thing is activated. But you're too far away when you kill the broodmother to notice it, and you're probably not even looking in this direction, so it's completely useless, but I guess I'll keep it anyway. And then, of course, the other hidden area is on the complete opposite side of the map as the first one. So you do go straight corner to corner. Your original spawn area is right in here, and then the ending area is right here. Your complete corner to corner, go across probably 90% of the map I was able to incorporate into this. And of course this is the trigger zone to get the champion, the win-lose thing, and then also turn it back to day once I added the behind-the-scenes thing in. Because I realized that it's still nighttime if you were to do this, and you wouldn't really be able to see much from above at night. But that's it. I actually don't know how long I spent working on this because I kind of more or less gave up on it. For a while when I got stuck having to try to fill in the Ladybug lab with all the infected stuff. Because that just got so tedious. But then I came back to it only like a couple days ago, after months of procrastinating. And I decided to just go through, spend the whole day going through that, and then decided to just double down on it. And it didn't really take a whole lot of time to put these in, to put in all the borders and stuff. It was just probably one day of work to figure out where they should be and put them in, and I even meticulously, completely unnecessary in some cases, but when I put these in, I went through and I deleted every piece of grass that was clipping through and sticking out of it, you know, to preserve the illusion, because of course it's like right in the middle of some of the grassland area, but I got rid of all the pieces of grass that were sticking out of it after I put them. Never mind. Almost all of them. But like, even though it was something that the player would almost certainly never see, I went through and I got rid of all of it. Just because I'm a perfectionist. And even, like, you can't get back here. You can't, I don't think no, I didn't do this side, but like, on the side of this stuff that you can't get back to and see the imperfection in it, I would still go through and do this. Just because. But that is the Curse of the Weevil. My very first playground. Probably the only one. Like I said, I might publish that arena one that I made. Just because I put so much work into it, and it was such a pain sometimes because of the glitch where sometimes the triangle floors would randomly rotate 90 degrees when you reloaded, and you would have to fix all of it. I had a heck of a time trying to get an octagonal arena figured out that way, because you have to, when you're building diagonally like that, you have to use the triangle floors. And when they suddenly rotate, like when all of them suddenly rotate, it was hectic and just trying to straighten them back out again, and then getting spiral acorn stairs to get onto the second level of the arena to get into the stands. Like that would get rotated too, or that would get messed up trying to get the right angle for the stairs to come out on the second floor. Like it was such a pain. So I put in a lot of work to that. I feel like it would be a shame not to publish it and finish it. I think I just have to implement some commands to give you armor and weapons that are appropriate for whatever fight you choose, and then program the gauntlet. Because there's like 3 or 4 doors in the arena that the gladiator can come out of, and then for each of those I have a lever that will trigger a specific set of fights. So there's one where it's an all spider fight, there's one where it's all the bosses, like just the bosses, and then there's going to be one where it's literally every single bug in the game as like the master gauntlet. So I just have to, you can pick between any of those 3, whatever you want to fight. It's kind of a cool, fun thing. So I might finish that and publish it, maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But this was the one I was wanting to really finish up, kind of get a story, like an RPG kind of thing. It was inspired by the Creature Castle that Jackson and I played. Because I really loved how he went through so much work to completely alter the landscape when he made that one. And I really wanted to do something similar. And I'm really proud with how it turned out. Get a little higher. Yeah, I am really proud of it. It took a lot of time and work to figure it out, but it turned out really well. And it's a good hour and a half playthrough. It's got 18 downloads apparently, so I guess some people like it, which is good. Hopefully it keeps climbing. But yeah, I just wanted to make this little video to show it off. The 1.4 update is coming as of recording this weekend, so Jax and I are probably going to make at least one video on that. And since it is the kind of last major update, I suppose it'll be our final video, because we kind of agreed we would, after we finish the main game, we'd keep coming back for the updates. But since that's going to be the last update, I guess that's the last video, unless we go through to redo all the bosses now that I know how to kill them easier. But aside from that, that's going to be our final video on Grounded. We'll of course keep playing. Maybe make some more bases that it could show off. I don't know, but that'll be coming soon. And it is out on the PlayStation coming soon, so, because I know he has a problem with the frames. He said it's not really fun to play on his computer anymore, so he'll probably get it on, he said he'd get it on PlayStation, so he won't be down to 40 frames per second. But yeah, just a fun little thing I wanted to show off, and I will see you guys on the 1.4 update.